Hello, wonderful people. This is Tom Check with Choice Coaching. So happy to see you again. In the last video, we talked a little bit about assumptions and really starting to notice that superpower of noticing. Mindfulness, as I joke with people, is what I teach. Is what I teach clients is mindfulness. But really, it's just noticing when your fears, when your assumptions, when your behaviors are not doing what you want them to, so that you can create some change. And what I love about the idea of personal change is that it's not a pass fail scenario. And a lot of people really struggle with that, especially up front. But there's no such thing as failure, there's only feedback. And I tell people the only time you're failing is if you're not learning from something that you're trying to do. And once we've identified our big assumptions, one of the ways that we develop feedback and test that assumption to find out how true it is by doing little experiments. And these look really different for each person depending on their scenario. But this idea that, like, that scientific process of I go in with a hypothesis that I think is true, and as long as I'm present enough to notice, then I can start to really extrapolate and find information that either says, yes, it's true, or no, it's not true. And that's when I can start to create some really radical change in myself and my behaviors and my fears. And when we create radical change in our fears and our behaviors and our beliefs, that's when we start to really live that confident life that we all say we want and that we're all trying to get to, but seems like such a struggle. So create a hypothesis for yourself around your big assumption. I think that if I do this differently, then this will happen. And then go do that thing a little differently and see what happens. And if you have a good feedback mechanism, and I use, personally, I'm a journaler, so I like writing stuff down, but some people like audio recording or video recording themselves. And make an appointment with yourself to sit down and reflect on what happened when you ran this experiment. I thought this was going to happen, but instead this thing happened. That's really valuable feedback to then go back and design a new experiment. And as long as we're doing this constant improvement, constant learning, then we'll never fail because we're always heading and readjusting to go the direction that we most want to go. Where we get into trouble is when we think we're going to make one change and it's going to change our whole lives, and we start making a hard change there and it doesn't work out and we just say it's a failure and then we never go back and revisit it. And that's really disempowering. And we've all done it. I've done it. You've done it. So let's maybe try something else, and let's do it in a way that allows for a lot more curiosity and a lot more exploration. And yeah, it does require us to be really aware and notice and kind of be mindful. But that is the path to creating the life that we most want to live, where we can be happy, confident, powerful people in changing the world around us. And that is the power of experimentation with big assumptions. That's all for today. Thanks so much. I hope this was useful. I'd highly invite you to go ahead and create a little social or science experiment for yourself. What do you think would happen if you made a small change? And then make an appointment with yourself to sit down and really debrief what did happen. What happened objectively outside of you, what happened subjectively inside of you, and use that as a barometer for designing another experiment, and so on and so forth until you're living the life you want. Tom Check, Choice Coaching. Have a wonderful day. Thanks so much. Go change the world.